people are owed reparations. Reparations now. All my Johnsons. Wolfpack. Big K.
Ayo, wait, hold up, pause, no debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you came to debate. We be down for the cause. I be laid on a sauce, keep us down for the cause. Fuck up, round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause. Pause like Tim Black, overwhelmed, but I gotta get my wits jacked. We be preaching to the quiet like a hymn track, but we gotta make a dent, get the rich back. Laying in the street, we got brothers that overdosing, trying to help the poor with their handicap and emotion. Both parties suck, take a minute and let it soak in. They don't give a fuck, they be locking you up and smoking. Both parties suck. Johnson, what they're serving up is a lace concoction. Spit it in a face. Johnson, what the fuck you do with a snake when you boxing? Wanna fall in line with the face is an option. I'ma stand for mine, I'ma ride with my conscience. If you want the right, I'd advise you with caution. When they get the chance, sell you out like an auction. Fucked ins like controlled opposition. Cunts on the boat and they roll their position. Top down, yeah, I'm sold on the mission. I ain't bringing coats, I'm searching for friction. Politicians faking these raps give me conniptions. They be out here serving their donuts like a religion. Calling out these blasphemous promises my addiction. They ain't got no soul, yeah, they sold it out for a vision. Wait, hold up, pause, no debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you came to debate. We be down for the cause. I be laid on a sauce, keep us down for the cause. Fuck up, round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause. Ayo, time. Fuck conservative, run on McDonald. Clean, but you look and you sound like you off at the bottle. White boy dress for the follow. You can see through the grip, so you need to let off to the throttle. Try the right, we beside, let us have us a top. Be a man, we can walk through the basics. You ain't getting shot, just talking about race. Motherfucker, you get shot for being racist. Yo, say you spitting facts, you clearly be in your feelings. Quoting Ben Shapiro, what else the fuck you conceal? See, we didn't free the slaves, and you acting like we the same. Like we're signing effects, same thing, you fucking idiot. Right-wing frauds really made me belligerent. Educate America, overcoming the ignorance. Big homie black, show you bitches the difference. They also jobs and blaming it on the immigrants. Bro for initiative, hold the line with the wolf pack. Giving me a shot, I blew through him like I'm a fullback. Riding from inside the center, where your soul at. Can't distract blast, cause homie be full of bullcrap. ACAB, yeah, I'm bending the law. Yeah, the system is broke. If you need this and ours, need divine intervention. Need a fix by the gods, hold up, I'ma need to catch my breath. Pause. Wait, hold up, pause, no debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you came to debate. We be down for the cause. I be laid on a sauce, keep us down for the cause. Fuck up, round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause.
Yes, yes, yes. Are we good, Johnson? Let's go. Looks good. It looks good, Johnson. All right. Make sure we good. Make sure we good. What's up, everybody? How you doing? My name is Tim Black. There we go. There we go. Here we go. We're good. We're good. All right. So we're good on YouTube. What's up, Facebook? Facebook okay? Facebook's in the house. All right, all right, all right, all right. What up? What up? Roll. Roll. Okay. And we are here. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. It's going to be one of them painful shows, Johnson. It's going to be a painful show. It's going to be a good show, though. It's going to be a damn good show. All right, guys. So first of all, if you're new to the show, this is Pause with Tim Black. And Pause with Tim Black is a show where we go for about an hour. Where we talk about what's going on in the world. I pick a theme, a subject, and we kind of pick it up from there. Like, that's going to be an overarching theme of the show. And we do this on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. In fact, I've been working so hard today on other content, I almost forgot I had a show today. But you ain't got to worry, because this is going to be a killer show. It's just that the schedule's crazy. So look, guys, there's a podcast version of this at TimBlackPause.com. TimBlackPause.com is where you follow the podcast. So you can download there. And also, if you rate the podcast or if you review the podcast, I'll send you 2 Cut the Check bracelets. I guess you say wristbands. Yeah, wristbands. They're elastically type wristbands. So that's what they are. Okay. And that's free of charge. And I pay for postage. And me and Mrs. Black will get those out to you. So give it out to anybody who's done that already, because I noticed we got a few reviews on Apple Podcasts. So give it up for those folks. I appreciate y'all looking out for a brother. That's right. And get back over here, make sure the volume's okay. Is the volume okay? It feels a little low. But you know how loud I can get, so it's okay as long as it's not too low. All right, so today's topic of the topic of today's show is we can't afford to let Biden slide. Yeah, we can't afford to let Biden slide. And you would think that we were in a good position the way people are talking about Biden. Yeah, you would think us black folks were doing okay the way they talk about Biden. So that's the topic. We can't afford to let Biden slide. Now, those who know Tim Black show, those who know Pause with Tim Black know, I'm a big-time supporter of reparations for American descendants of slaves. I'm a big-time supporter of a black agenda. I'm a big-time supporter of equality and humanity. That's what I ride with. That's what I do. So, with that being said, cut the check. Cut the check. You better stop playing with me. Move this mic a little bit. We okay? All right. So, folks, I was looking at a story before I began. And this is like, I got to talk about this, right? So, in the Tim Black Show channel, or the Tim Black Show episodes, I cover a lot of breaking news. One of the stories that I covered back in 2018 was the story of Nikolas Cruz. Marjorie Stoneman High School out there in Parkland, Florida. Back in 2018, this man went on a rampage. He went to his former high school and shot and killed 17 people. There were a lot more people that got shot other than the 17 that he killed. And he shot some people multiple times. He pleaded guilty today. He pleaded guilty to 17 charges of murder and 17 charges of attempted murder. I listened to this bastard I listened to this now 23-year-old man speak on his own behalf and sort of like plead for something, right? Plead for leniency, I guess you would say, because it's obvious that he did it. In fact, he recorded a video saying he was going to do it, telling the world before he did it, like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to show you who I am with my AR-15. So there was nothing for his representation to do except try to get him life in prison. So that's what they're trying to do. So he pleaded guilty, and he's hoping that they can somehow get life in prison instead of the death penalty and put him on death row. First of all, let me say my condolences to the family of all those that were affected by the heinous activities of Nikolas Cruz. My heart goes out to you. Young people gunned down in the prime of their lives, in the beginning of their lives, by a murderous person. It's just unthinkable for most of us, and just a horrible, horrible thing to have to live with. So I can only imagine the pain and the grief that the family and friends have gone through. 15 children, 2 faculty members or staff members, and then numerous people that were shot and wounded. So there's been some type of payment or settlement. I think $25 million settlement was conducted because they feel that this could have been prevented. So that money has been given to the surviving and to the families, and the majority of the 25 million go to those family members who lost members of their families. So, kind of difficult story to talk about. And besides just bringing you up to date on the news, turns out this guy, Nikolas, there were all kinds of warning signs that this guy was going to do something like this. I mean, there had been like 20 multiple phone calls, 911 calls, FBI wellness checks. Like there was a grocery list of problems with this man before this happened. When this happened, he was 20 years old. And he had racked up all of this special attention from law enforcement. But for some reason, he was still walking around and still had access to a gun. Now, I don't know how he got the gun. All I'm saying is there were red flags everywhere. He also has mental issues and emotional issues. His mother died. No, I think his father or mother died very young. His father died when he was 5, and then his mom died 4 months before he, went on a rampage. So once again, a lot of warning signs that this young man was on the brink of exploding and doing something dangerous to hurt other people. And I'm telling you, man, when you look at a story like this, I'm a person now who's against the death penalty. And I'm against the death penalty just because I know how it's meted out. I know our system is so flawed. Damn. See, I'm kind of like programmed to say certain things. Our system is so corrupt. It's not flawed. It's not flawed. That would give you the impression that they formed it wanting it to be flawless. I don't think they formed it wanting it to be flawless. Get what I'm saying? It's not flawed. A flaw is something when you're trying to make the best product possible. And you're like, damn, it's not perfect. I got a flaw in it. That's not our criminal justice system, right? Our criminal justice system was never meant to be flawless. Because if that was the case, they wouldn't let you have jurors who are racist and bigots sit on it. Right? There would be some type of way to try to weed out the bigots and try to detach monetary gain from sentencing. So we can't even start. It's like, it's bullshit. Like, you got to catch yourself because I find myself anyway. Let me speak for myself. I find myself sometimes saying things that I'm programmed to say that are bullshit. And to say that the American system of justice is a justice system or that it's flawed will give somebody the wrong impression. And that's something politicians say when they don't know what else to say. That's something that the average public viewer wants to hear. But the 10 Black Wolfpack, members of the 10 Black Paws Coalition, we know better than that, don't we? We know that this system is only this corrupt and this fucked up because they want it to be. Come on, guys, let's grow up. Let's everybody grow up real quick, okay? You can't get a system this disgustingly brutal, this heinous, this biased on accident. Come on now. That's like saying, you and your wife accidentally had a baby. Now, you didn't accidentally have a baby. Now, you may have accidentally gotten her pregnant, but you didn't accidentally have a baby. No, it takes certain things. And we know what those things are that create babies. So you can't say accidentally or accidentally, had relations. No. That ain't an accident. It's very hard to accidentally sleep with someone. It's very hard to accidentally bake a cake. You got to do certain things to make a cake. So what I'm trying to say is, like, we fall into this trap, and I'm trying to get us out of that trap. And believe me, I'm a work in progress on this too. I was caught up in the matrix to a certain extent myself. I was a part of the machine, so to speak. I thought I meant well. In my heart and mind, I'm thinking, I'm doing the right thing. I'm fighting for certain policies. But the more I learned, the more I studied, the more I read, the more I realized, hold on a second, dog. We got so much wrong with this country. We ain't gonna solve any of it by me just going along with the flow. So that's when we gotta make a decision, folks. We gotta decide, do we wanna just get ours? Or do we wanna have an impact? These are decisions we all have to make. So back to this shooting. I'm against the death penalty. But man, this guy, Nikolas Cruz, really pushes me, man. I mean, he killed 17 people just to do this shit. He wasn't even a disgruntled worker. He didn't even go to the school anymore. There were people at the school he didn't even know. He was 20 years old. He killed 14-year-olds. He shot them multiple times. They weren't at the school when he went to the school. It wasn't even people he had a beef with. He just did it to do it. He did it because he said he was a loner And he hated life and he hated everyone. So he just killed people. It's a hard story, man. That's a hard... These are the people that share a world with us. And when you hear something like that, is there any reason why people would say... I know there's people that say they don't want people to have guns, right? I used to say that too. You know, like, guns are evil. But you hear a story like Nikolas Cruz, and you realize the type of people that live in this world with you. Like, it's like, yo, I trust me. I trust me. Now, there was once upon a time I didn't trust me. When I was young and angry and pissed off Tim Black, you think I'm angry now. Sometimes I got to remind myself, Tim Black, come on now. You're a grown-ass man. You got grandkids, man. I got 2 grandkids now. I wear it well, don't I? You couldn't tell. Yeah, Tim Black. People piss me off, I still want to smack the shit out of somebody. I can't do it, though. I cannot do it. And it's, you know, you got to grow up. You can't get violent. But you had these thoughts in your head. And then you watch a video, and you see an old dude trying to act out his thoughts, and he's like, now you need to have a seat, Johnson. Have a seat, Johnson, because, you know, just let it go. But, you know, like, there was a time I didn't trust myself. Because I knew I would have to, you know, angry. You're angry, you know. People done things, you live through some stuff. You got to learn how to control your anger. So now I know I'm very much able to walk away, then let somebody bait me into a situation that puts me behind bars, and, like, I'm in a different place. But when you got people like Nikolas Cruz walking around, look, people know he's crazy. People know he's unhinged. People know he's dangerous. And the motherfucker's still walking around. That'll make you rethink the whole don't own a gun thing. Because, you know, you're operating under the concept that people will report somebody like that. Like somebody like Nikolas Cruz should be able to just walk around and have an AR-15 and go up to the school. Like, there should be something. I'm not saying Florida wants people to walk into the schools and shoot up the place. But what I'm saying is we got all these hoes in our system that locks up people for bullshit like weed, but somehow lets a guy like Nikolas Cruz with a rack of wellness checks, FBI watch lists, all this shit, somehow still get a gun and walk into a school. You can't be that bad on accident, is all I'm saying. That's a system that's so full of shit and corruption that it can't get, like, basic things done. So anyway, I don't know what to say about that other than this is the time that we live in. This is the world that we have. And money will help. Yeah, money will help because black people need to be able to live in gated communities too. Yeah, all the gated communities shouldn't be left up to white people and Asian people and rich Latinos, like, and immigrants. Like, black people need to live behind the gated communities too. Have our own gated communities. But not the kind made to keep us in, the kind to keep bad people out. The only way that's going to really happen, guys, is if we get them to cut the check. They're going to have to cut the check, Johnson. Cut the check. That's how it's going to get done for the sweeping majority of us. That's the only way it's going to get done. And we deserve it, Johnson, because we're owed it. It's a debt. So yeah, the theme of tonight's show is we can't afford to let Biden slide. I mean that shit. You know, because I'm hearing, like, I try not to watch cable news. I try not to pay attention to what some of my counterparts or some of my peers are talking about in independent media and other areas because it just pisses me off. Yeah, it literally pisses me off. And I say, Tim Black, focus on your own shit because you don't need to look over there. We got people cheering for Biden like that's going to mean something for black people. Yeah, like we're going to somehow benefit from this shit. Like somehow all the history of Democrats fucking us over is going to automatically change, and we're going to disproportionately benefit from some policies made by Democrats or by Republicans for that matter. We got people who are so concerned about their position, folks. That's all they're concerned about. That's their priority. What is in it for them personally? Not what's in it for black people. What's in it for themselves? How far can they go? How low can they go? How high can they go? That's their focus. And I really hadn't planned to talk about this, but today I put out a video. It was about FDR's New Deal. And I decided instead of calling it FDR's New Deal, because I know most people don't give a shit about FDR's New Deal, because that was what, 80 years ago? A long time ago, right? Yeah, it's like 60 years ago, almost 80 years ago. So most people don't give a shit about it, right? Cool. So I had to come up with another title for it. So I called it something about we can't trust Joe Biden's New Deal. Okay? And then YouTube demonetized it because they don't like me talking about Joe Biden. It's the same video, it's just a different title. Because I was saying how people have been saying in media world, not us, because we ain't stupid, and they're hacks, they're paid off, they're corrupt, and they're comparing Joe Biden to, FDR. And I'm just pointing out that if that's the case, that's going to be bad for us because we got screwed under the New Deal. So anyway, when I saw that they demonetized my video, guys, that pissed me off, man. I said, you know what? Oh, okay. You want to be demonetizing me because I'm criticizing how our government does black people, how it treats us in their policies, how we get the short end of the stick. You want to demonetize me for stating facts, for going bullet by bullet by bullet, talking about what was in that plan and how we didn't get our cut? $4.4 trillion? Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? Let me make a video that's worthy of being demonetized. See, that's what I like to do. Let me lean in on this motherfucker. Let me walk into it. You ain't got to come for me with a demonetization. Let me come for you. Let me come your way. Let me earn the F, okay? Here we go. We got people out here, guys, caping for Joe Biden as if there isn't major shit we need done. There's major things we need done as black people in America. There are things that are so egregious that have occurred to the black community. We are so behind. We have been so stripped. We have been so neglected. We have been so bottom casted by American policy and laws that is so horrific. We need Joe Biden to rectify this. It should be like we should hold our vote ransom. We should hold our allegiance ransom. We should hold our co-signing. We should hold our positive words, like anything that we got to hold back until Joe Biden and the Democrats do right by us. We should be holding that back. There should not be a single black person or even a black ally who's riding with Joe Biden unless Joe Biden does right by black people. Period. Point blank. That if we had decent people who were willing to lose their jobs, people with backbone, people who were courageous, people who realized this ain't just about them picking up a big paycheck. This is about our country. Folks, there's so much Joe Biden and the Democrats could do for us. There's so much that needs to be done for us. See, we walk around in a perpetual state of not knowing what the fuck is going on. We think we're doing well when we're not. We think we got room to play nice and we don't. We think that we should just toe the line and we should not. Folks, we are beyond screwed in this country. I'm going to give you some examples of all the areas All the areas that Joe Biden could assist us. Let's start in investments. Investments and financing. This is a crucial area. If you're trying to build up a class of people, a race of people who have been disenfranchised in the country, and you want to empower them, you want to give them an opportunity to live a better life. Increased life expectancy, less stress, better health outcomes, all those things that the Democrats say they're about. A good place to start would be investments and financing. As it stands right now, less than 2% of all loan money given out by the SBAs go to black businesses. Less than 2%. There goes a great place for Biden to start. It's a government agency, right? Why can't he work with government agencies like the SBA to make that number be closer to our amount of, to the 13% or the 14% of black folks that are in the country? That makes sense to me. Less than 2% of corporate procurement goes towards black businesses. Yeah, that's black businesses that are there participating in industry. The contracting process, less than 2% of government contracts, procurement contracts, go to black businesses. Once again, this is on the federal level. Why can't Joe Biden make that happen? Why can't Joe Biden use not only his bully pulpit, but his pen to make that happen? Now, don't talk to me about he can't do it. It's all about will. He has no will to do it. Less than 2% of tech companies have black entrepreneur or CEOs. Less than 2% of tech companies. 2%. Less than 2% of venture capitalists are black. Well, that makes sense because we're underfunded, undercapitalized. So how are we going to be venture capitalists? That could be something that we focus on. We hear Andrew Yang talk all the time about forward this. He wants to start a new party. Why doesn't he start with helping black people specifically? Because this information that I'm giving you is not hard to dig up. It's been curated in a book by Shawn Rochester called The Black Tax. Any of us can access this information. It's not hidden. You have to travel to Istanbul and climb a mountain or dig a cave to find out what's going on with black people and how far behind we really are. If the white power structure, if white companies were only 2% of venture capitalists, this whole country would burn up instantly. But no, because it's black folks, no one gives a shit. People like Joe Biden can make speeches about Build Back Better. No, we have to be built to be built back better. See, we're not even built. We're not even formed. We're underdeveloped. So how could you build us back better? We need to be built first. If Joe Biden really gave a shit, and if we had actual commentators, analysts, political analysts, and we had Congress people that actually were on top of their shit, we would be pushing Joe Biden to do this. Don't talk to me about, oh, God, we got this going on, that going on. No, I don't. Black folks right now, the cornerstone of the Democratic Party, finance and investment, less than 2%. Let's talk about corporate leadership. Corporate leadership. Right now, less than 2% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are black. Been in this country 400 years. We're 150 years since slavery. 60 years since civil rights. And now we're still at less than 2% of Fortune 500 CEOs. See, we got people that watch TV. Haven't you watched TV and watched the show where they had a black man as the head of a Fortune 500 company? Or a black woman? Well, you know what? That shit's rare as fuck. They put it in movies, they put it in shows to lie to you. To lie to you, to not only lie to black people, to lie to white people too. To lie to the whole world that black people are doing better than they're doing. I'm telling you that 2%, less than 2% of Fortune 500 CEOs are black. I didn't say women, I said black, which includes black women. Okay? Less than 2% of black folks are partners in law firms. How many times, once again, have you watched the show where they had some black person playing a lawyer, a partner in the law firm, and they're doing all of this wheeling and dealing? And they seem really savvy. Bullshit. In reality, less than 2% of partners at those law firms are black. Once again, it's the okie-doke. It's the rules. It's a scheme. It's a scam. They're bamboozling us. It's not real. It's a joke, but it's worse than a joke. It's a scheme to decapacitate you, to pull the wool over your eyes, to have you drunk off of fantasy, but really there'd be no substance there. Less than 3% of black folks are senior staff at a financial company, in the financial industry. Less than 3%. We're talking about all those major Wall Street firms. Smith Barney, name them, any of those. Goldman Sachs. Less than 3%. We're less than 3% of investment professionals in corporate 500 firms. You know, once again, all those movies, all those shows you see, we're overrepresented in the movies, but not truly represented in the actual companies. It's bullshit. We're less than 3% of recent hires at tech firms, according to the Atlantic magazine. Less than 3% of tech hires. So we hear people talking about Silicon Valley, hear them talking about, ooh, the new app, the new this. That ain't us. That's not us. We're not being hired for those positions. Let's switch gears. But before we do, remember, you got a president right now that would not be in office and said, hey, I wouldn't be in office if it wasn't for black people. I owe you. What does he do? How does he pay back owing us for putting him in office? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Nothing on this list. Have you heard Joe Biden talk about any of the things on this list? Have you heard people that supported Joe Biden talk about anything on this list? Have you heard Jim Clyburn talk about anything on this list? Have you heard the CBC talk about anything on this fucking list? Even people in the independent media who said we need Biden more than we need Trump. Are you hearing them talk about us and anything on this fucking list? Then what good are they? And whose team are they on? They're on team themselves. Because they ain't on our team, Johnson. Education. Less than 2% of teachers are black men. Less than 2% of the nation's 3,000 colleges and universities have a tenured black on faculty. Remember when Dr. Cornel West was going through his beef with Harvard? You know how rare that is? You know how rare it is that we got a professor as well-known, acclaimed as Dr. Cornel West, would even make tenure? That we have somebody, first of all, that's acclaimed. Second, that he can be tenured many places. That's amazing because that's not the case nationally. Less than 2%. That's if you put think about it. If you put 100 tenured faculty in a room, only 2 of them will be black. 2. We're less than 2% of doctorates in physics, math, and computer science and engineering. Now that number's from 2014, so still, how much has it really increased, Johnson? Think about it. Let's go to media. We heard remember when Byron Allen was suing? Yeah, he was suing Comcast, I think it was. And he made a lot of claims about Comcast, about media. Then they kind of used his claims to even disenfranchised black people even more, didn't they? And then they kind of went back on that. He had to like pull his lawsuit because people said, damn, they're going to hurt us more than we were being hurt just by having Byron Allen push the issue. Well, I don't want to get into that portion of it, but I want to say he was valid in his criticism. Listen to this. Less than 2% of blacks, less than 2% of black film execs. Less than 2% of film execs are black. And that includes directors. We ain't directing the shows. We ain't the execs greenlighting the shows or directing the shows. Blacks consume more media than any other group, but still, that doesn't matter. We're still not the ones who get to greenlight it. Even though we consume more of the media itself. We don't get to decide what people watch, even though we're the main ones watching it. So check this out. The industry is basically living off of us, but they don't trust us to decide what we want. That's why I made a video about it. Did you share it? It was an important video. It took me like, 48 hours to make that video. Countless re-editing. Countless, put a lot of work into that video. Check that video out. It's a very good video. It's one of those, you cut it on, next thing you know it's gone, because it moves so quick. But it's got a lot of rock solid information in it. Media, 2% of advertising expenditures. We're talking about cable TV, national magazines, network TV, radio, syndication, goes to black media outlets. Less than 2%. Once again, we're the major consumers of media, but in that industry, we don't get to greenlight anything, we don't get to direct it, and we damn sure don't get the advertising revenue. Yeah. We're watching a bunch of white people pick what we watch, write what we watch, direct what we watch, and get paid as we watch it. They're not advertising with the Tim Black Show. Let's go to medicine and law. I'm sure that Joe Biden and some of the Democrats will let us step in here and do something like force the issue with Joe Biden. Since, we're the ones that got him elected. Wasn't for him, we'd have that horrible Trump guy. How much worse could Trump do in these areas? Biden's not addressing any of this shit. So when people say, what's the difference? People say, there's a lot of differences. Okay. What about based on this list of like 20 things I've given you so far? What about that? Okay. Let's go to medicine and law. Medicine and law. This is short, but it's going to be painful. Less than 2% of doctors are black. That includes men and women. Less than 2%. Maybe that has something to do with our lower life expectancies. You wouldn't think that maybe some of the doctors are a little racist, maybe. Don't give us the same amount of attention. Don't listen to us. Don't do what's in our best interest, maybe. I mean, what really, we know racist people exist in all walks and sizes and educations and backgrounds, right? So they screw us. Let me get this right. When I've covered this before, but when I go buy a car, they upsell me. They charge me more for the same vehicle. They've done studies on this. I walk in to buy a car, same credit, they give me a higher interest rate than the white guy who walks in with same credit. We look at the same car, they give me a higher sticker price. We can live in the same area, they give me a higher insurance rate. They tax me more. That's what the book is called, the black tax. I'm taxed at every step of the way. just for being black. When I purchase an automobile, when I finance it, when I insure it, what have you. Is it crazy to think maybe the doctors are also taxing me, but they're taxing my health? I mean, every other way, we're screwed every other way when we got to deal with racists, and we don't know who they are, but they sure exist. We're screwed in our criminal justice system. We're screwed when it comes to financing a home, buying a home. Where we live at, the towns that we live in, the areas that we live in that are predominantly black. The water's not as clean. The air is more dirty. Like every way we could be screwed, we're screwed. So what I'm telling you is, less than 2% of our doctors are black. Same thing applies to lawyers. Less than 2% of lawyers in America are black. See, once again, guys, how many of us have seen show after show? It's always got these savvy black doctors and savvy black lawyers. It's rare. It's fucking rare. It's a lie. We need more help than we know. We're so far behind. We are so far behind. It's such levels. It's such levels, guys, that the only way to right the ship, the only way to get any type of equality or equity would be for someone to step in, for a president, for a government level step in. But we can't get that done, can we? No, we can't get that done. We got people running interference for Biden, not forcing Biden to do anything on our behalf. Part of the reason why I left the center of the left, the group of the left, the progressives, was because they did not give a fuck about the plight of black people. I'm telling you the condition of black people, and instead they want to talk to me about Afghanistan or Pakistan or somebody in jail in Switzerland. But when I bring up what's going on right here, silence. They'll cover one story and then walk away like they did some shit. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? You want to be a humanitarian. You want to be an international activist. I got a third world country within your fucking country right here. We go to school together. Well, some of us. I don't live far from you. We go to the same DMV. If I got a couple extra bucks, we might shop at the same grocery store. You have your own third world country to care about, and it's right here in the country that you live in. And I can't get you to give a shit. Now, you want to tell me that's about something else? You want to tell me it's something that's, I don't know what? You want to tell me that's not racism? You want me to believe it's not racism? You'll be more concerned with somebody who lives in a country somewhere else who are not black Americans, who didn't build the fucking country, who never got compensated for it. You want to talk to me about some foreign folks that are going through problems, and then when I point this out, you'll say I'm a xenophobe. We got black people in America calling us because they're immigrants from another country who would call me xenophobe for even saying, what about us in America who built this country that we live in? For fucking free. And they'll say a statement like, hey, worry about these people here in this country who are dying. I'm reading you a list. I'm reading you a list of how America's fucked your neighbors and your brothers and your friends. So here's the thing, guys. You can't tell me that you're a friend of me. You can't tell me we were cool, because I got a lot of that email, guys. I got a lot of email, a lot of people talking to me, Tim, we were friends, or Tim, these people were your friends. Why did you stab them in the back? If they were my friends, why aren't they having my back? Why aren't they supporting what I'm talking about? These are all facts, Johnson. You know how many please help Julian Assange visuals these motherfuckers send me? Do you think they send me anything about what's going on in any of these groups for people like me in this country? Zero. None, motherfucker. None. Then they'll say, there's something wrong with me. But nothing's wrong with them, though. Two 2% of the lawyers, 2% of the doctors. You don't think that's a problem? That's not a fucking problem? If that's not systemic racism, what is? How can you account for all these groups, all these categories, for black people to be at less than 2%? Either you're racist as fuck, and you think that's because you don't have the aptitude, which is racism, or it's benign neglect, because you just don't give a fuck. Last section. Business, because we all have watched movie after movie of some black guy or someone who's got a company or a black woman. They're doing that a lot now. You got black women in these positions. Sanaya Lathan or, I don't know, Jasmine God does a reprisal. She comes in and she's a savvy business person. Octavia Spencer. Right? Come on now. Some very smart black person, black woman playing one of these execs. Bullshit! Less than 2%. We're less than 2% of information technology companies. Less than 2% of finance and insurance companies. Less than 2% of oil and gas. Minerals. That's us. Less than 2% of those companies owned by black people. But you want to save the whales. Hell, man, if y'all saving whales, we need to have all these black kids put on whale outfits. That's what needs to happen, man. Shit. Because we need to be saved. Look at this list. And when our schools go off of our tax brackets, and we're not the ones owning these companies or working in these positions, how can we compete? How can we get our children a fair start in a country like this? With this shit. We can't get jiggy with this shit. It's just numbers, Johnson. It's just facts. And we have people in the media world. This is what I say, guys. We got people in the media game. Today, you watched the media. I'm sure you did. You watched Mark Lamar Hill or Joy Reid or Don Lemon or Candace Coonins or somebody. Were they talking about this? Were they talking about this? Maybe you watched some black people in the independent media. Were they talking about this? Hey, I'm not trying to shit on them, but were they talking about this? Just wondering. I mean, hell, I wasn't talking about this yesterday. Will they talk about this month? Fuck black, the white allies, who some of you consume their shit too. We're the major consumer of media. So I got black folks who are watching me who also watch a lot of white commentators. Are your white commentators talking about us? Why are you watching them? Are they talking about issues that affect us? We live in a capitalistic society where we're the bottom of the food chain and we're food for them. You understand? We are the fucking food. And no one's addressing it. No one's pushing Joe Biden. They'll push Joe Biden for a universal program. Aren't we part of the universe? I mean, aren't you tired of scraps? Why come we can't hold motherfuckers accountable? Why we can't? So that was the thing, right? I caught a lot of flack. Tim wants to defend the squad. Were you going to push the squad to fight for black issues like anything on this list? Or do I got to fight you, to push you, to fight for us, for anything on this fucking list? So you want to fight them, I got to fight you because you ain't doing your job either. Get what I'm saying? Like, we got people that aren't fighting for us that are right here. They're not even elected. They just don't give a fuck. And I'm not bailing you out either. I'm not going to come on your fucking show to make people make it seem like you give a fuck about black people. You should give a fuck about these issues because we are Americans, and this is America. If you cover American issues, you should be covering black American issues as well. We're at the bottom of these fucking lists for a reason. Anybody ever question you about how you voted? You should be able to slap them in the face with a box of a sock full of sand. I mean, it won't really hurt them, but it'll fuck them up and embarrass the shit out of them. You should be able to do that because that's some disrespectful shit. They ask you how you voted. Look at this shit. What could you possibly vote for? You're voting for them. You're voting for some shit that don't affect you, that affects them only. Because as long as this list looks this fucking long and this fucking dire, and this list is not being addressed, there is nothing that those people can talk about that impacts you. It is what it is. Oh, but this person's really nice and they really care. They do? About who do they really care about? I know a lot of white guys, man. I know a lot of conservative white guys. I know a lot of liberal white guys. I know a lot of white guys, period. I know guys who are not political at all. But I know this. If for some fucking reason, they were only 2% of educators, or only 2% of doctors or lawyers, or only 2% of finance companies, or less than 2% of the film industry, they would watch another fucking film. If they were less than 2% of the ad revenue, they wouldn't watch anything with ads. They'd bootleg every fucking thing. You hear what I'm saying? Look, I'm okay with people not giving a fuck. Actually, I'm not. But don't pretend to give a fuck, okay? And what I'm trying to do is mobilize people in the direction of making them pay for that. And us giving a fuck about ourselves. And us funding our own shit. And us moving in that direction. As we pressure them. As we pressure. And use our platforms to pressure them. See, these talking heads that they got that they employ in all these cable news entities, these talking heads that they pay off, they're only able to pay them off because they could drown us out. See, if the masses knew this shit and that those talking heads are not addressing these issues, they would no longer be able to Negro whisper. So once the Negro whisperers by the establishment are proven to be ineffective in controlling us, that's when they have to break bread with us. But as long as they got people willing to sell us out and tell the masses everything's fine, as long as you got your, as long as you have Oprah Winfrey and Gail, as long as you got Gail and CBS pretending all is well, then a lot of other black people are duped into thinking all is well. But if we start making enough noise, when we start informing the masses that Gail ain't shit, that they're not telling you the real deal, that this is the situation that we're in, that the Congressional Black Caucus ain't doing their fucking job, that the NAACP is not doing this fucking job, that all these things on this list are things that could be corrected. But they're not. We're being overlooked. We're being denied access. We're being handicapped. Man, white people would go ballistic. It'd be a wrap. We got people storming out right now over a comedy special. We got motherfuckers literally boycotting a company over a comedy special. What should we be doing? What should we be doing over this list of shit that Joe Biden, the Democrats, the CBC, that nobody's addressing? What should we be doing? Fucking joke. What should we be doing, Johnson? Huh? Now, people like, oh, Tim, you don't see how serious this is. Do you see how serious this is? No, you don't, do you? You don't give a fuck how serious this is, do you? Huh? No, you don't. Then you don't understand why I don't get excited about that shit. Do you get excited about this shit? No, you don't. That's why I go hammer on these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. It's some deplorable shit. At the end of the day, cut the motherfucking check. I don't have time to play with them. Cut the check. We need to demand that Joe Biden and the Democrats cut the check, or let it be a bunch of Republicans running this shit from here on out. We need to expose every one of those talking heads that sell us out, that continue to sell us out and sell us up the river, who give this camouflage like everything is fine. But in the real life, we're screwed. In real life, it's all window dressing. It's pretend. It's not enough to have Denzel play a role. We need to actually occupy those roles. It's not enough to have Sanaa Lathan play a role. We need to actually have those jobs. It's not enough for you to pretend that we're doing well. We have to actually be doing well. And if Joe Biden could go up on the stage and say, without you, Black America, I couldn't have won. How could you be in Congress? How could you be a politician and not hold him accountable for that? How could you be in media and not use every bit of your platform to call this shit out? They want to pretend that they give a fuck. I'm going to be shaming them from now to the cows come home. It's very, very necessary. We can't let Biden slide. Because if Biden slides, we die. It's as simple as that. All right, guys. I'm Tim Black, Real Tim Black. Facebook, Twitter, Tim Black at Night on Instagram. You like this podcast? It's hard-hitting. That's because I don't answer to nobody except my viewers. And even my viewers don't tell me what to do. You can suggest things. I got some shows coming up I want to do. Some viewers have some good ideas. But I'm not controlled by anyone. And just so happens, I go for the juggler every time. If you like this podcast, guys, Tim Black's Wolfpack, if you like this podcast, go to timblackpause.com. Rate and review this podcast. I would love to see it rank. I'm waiting to see somebody go hard in the paint like this. I'm sure they exist. But we're going hard in the paint every time out because we cannot sit by and watch this happen. We have a responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to our children, to fight, to push, and not just acquire things, but to move up in our position. I'm Tim Black. I got number love for you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cut the check. People are owed reparations. Reparations now. All my Johnsons. Wolfpack. Big K.
Ayo, wait, hold up, pause, no debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you came to debate. We be down for the cause. I be laid on a sauce, keep us down for the cause. Fuck up, round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause. Pause like Tim Black, overwhelmed, but I gotta get my wits jacked. We be preaching to the choir like a hymn track, but we gotta make a dent, get the rich back. Laying in the street, we got brothers that overdosing, trying to help the poor with their handicap and emotion. Both parties suck. Take a minute and let it soak in. They don't give a fuck, they be locking you up smoking. Both parties suck. Johnson, what they're serving up is a lace concoction. Spit it in a face. Johnson, what the fuck you do with a snake when you boxing? Wanna fall in line with the face is an option. I'ma stand for mine, I'ma ride with my conscience. If you want the right, I'd advise you with caution. When they get the chance, so you out like an auction. Fucked ins like controlled opposition. Cunts on the boat and they roll their position. Top down, yeah, I'm sold on the mission. I ain't bring a coast, I'm a search of friction. Apologists figure these raps give me conniptions. They be out here serving their donuts like a religion. Calling out these blasphemous promises my addiction. They ain't got no soul, yeah, they sold it out for a patient. Wait, hold up, pause, no debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you came to debate. We be down for the cause. I be laid on a sauce, keep us down for the cause. Fuck up, round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause. Ayo, Tom. Fuck conservative, run on McDonald. Clean, but you look and you sound like you off at the bottle. White boy dress for the follow. You can see through the grip, so you need to let off of the throttle. each other right, we beside, let us have us a top. Be a man, we can walk through the basics. You ain't getting shot, just talking about race. Motherfucker, you get shot for being racist. Yo, say you spitting facts, you clearly be in your feelings. Quoting Ben Shapiro, what else the fuck you conceal? See, we didn't free the slaves, and you acting like we the same. Like we're signing effects, same thing, you fucking idiot. Right-wing frauds really made me belligerent. Educate America, overcoming the ignorance. Big homie black, show you bitches the difference. They also jobs, blaming it on the immigrants. Bro for initiative, hold the line with the wolf pack. Giving me a shot, I blew through him like I'm a fullback. Riding from inside the center, where your soul at. Can stretch blast, cause homie be full of bullcrap. ACAB, yeah, I'm bending the law. Yeah, the system is broke. If you need this and ours, need divine intervention. Need a fix by the gods, hold up, I'ma need to catch my breath. Pause. Wait, hold up, pause. No debate, no applause. Tired of the wait, man, we need a revolution, but you can't to debate. We be down for the cause. I be late on a sauce. Keep us down for the cause. Fuck up round, get a public execution. Better wise up, hold up, fuck it, pause.